Oh, very, very garbage setup. What the hell? It's all leaning forward and stuff. Jesus Christ, I gotta edit these settings, man. It's fucking garbage. Come on. This is not looking very good. Shoulders are cut off. Okay. Alright, looks good enough. What's up, guys? Professor Art here. Now, my fellow grasshoppers, it's time to discuss this issue at hand here. Squatting with long femurs is a tremendous pain in the ass, especially when you have a bunch of garter gnomes preaching their ass to grass religion upon you. This video is titled How to Squat If You Are Tall. I, of course, scripted it. I decided to print this out. I have my fancy little notes here. Hopefully I can articulate my thoughts in a manner that doesn't convey autism to a rather large extent. I'm trying to form sentences here in words. Okay, so unfortunately, yeah, as I said already. Okay, which brings me to my first tenet my first tenet for squatting. I can't read my own shit. Which brings me to the first tenet for squatting as a person who is tall. Okay, number one. What the fuck? Damn, I completely skipped over this goddamn thing. Alright, cut. Okay, unfortunately, unlike our manly counterparts, we grasshoppers aren't blessed with an inherent ability to go completely to depth. In fact, we struggle greatly and end up injuring our knees in the process of attempting to do so. Which brings me to the first tenet for squatting as a tall person. Alright, so, number one, you don't have to squat ass to grass, alright? As a bodybuilder, it doesn't fucking matter how your muscles grow, alright? It doesn't matter how you grow your muscles. It doesn't matter if you fail to abide by powerlifting standards via the selection of lifts or variations that are looked down upon by people who are looked down by people who masturbate to videos of squats are performed completely to depth. Then criticize them for not squatting completely to depth. Even if the person practically digs an imprint of their ass cheeks on the gym floor after squatting, these sniveling wannabe powerlifters will attempt to invalidate said lift via criticizing the supposed lack of depth for not being ass to grass. It doesn't matter if the individual in question is squatting ass to grass, if they have perfect goddamn form. These goddamn garter gnomes will just say, oh, you're not squatting ass to grass. The beauty of disregarding such claims and making a mockery of these false tenets and standards is that as a natural bodybuilder, it doesn't matter how the muscles are grown, right? Like someone by the name of Natural Hypertrophy once stated, no judge on this planet will go up to your biceps after you win a bodybuilding show and pester you with the question, sir, did you build those arms by using cheat curls, bro? Did you? What's that? You did? You are disqualified, now I award you no points. Shame, shame, shame. Right? This might be a tangent, but it also brings me to my reasoning for why I couldn't give less of a shit about sumo haters, right? Especially with their smug desires for the International Powerlifting Federation to ban sumo deadlifts after an extreme arch was banned for the bench press recently. Nigga, no one gives a fuck about your powerlifting standards within the context of muscle growth, alright? We are bodybuilders. And we will implement methods that are safe and effective, okay? It's not like there's some federation that we all swore allegiance to the second we were born as if we are some sort of inherent beings that are buy towards some sort of doctrine, some sort of biological doctrine that we swore allegiance towards and we have to abide by their plans or their standards. No. Alright? Granted, I might be reading into the meme a little bit too much, right? But this jackass is memifying things to the point where they're taking seriously. So, you have these sumo hater memes, you have these squatting to parallel and anti-squatting to parallel hater memes, and they simply just, you read the comment section, right? This is the part where memes become reality. The meme becomes a reality. People, memes have a tendency of becoming reality to the point where they're personifying their reality. It's like art. They say that art imitates life. These memes are modern day art in a sense, and which is very, very telling because modern art is kind of shit. Have you seen modern art in museums? It's kind of shit, but these memes have a great emphasis. They place a great emphasis on placing people within a box, and they have some sort of it crowd. You're part of the cool kids, or you're not part of the cool kids. The cool kids understand the meme, the cool kids get the meme, and you know about that. So yeah, so yes, I might be reading way into the meme, but these idiots, they're they're abiding by it as some sort of Bible, right? Okay, now, joint longevity will save you in the long run, and your knees will thank you for not allowing some internet keyboard warriors to bully you into squatting in a way that fails to take your disposition as a taller person into account. Squatting to parallel is just fine. Disregard what fucking Joe Schmo the midget over here has to say about it, alright? Keep in mind that your range of motion is deeper than the range of motion. Hell, the range of motion you have to take taking a shit is greater than his range of motion bench pressing or greater than his range of motion squatting, alright? Number 2. Embrace the eccentric grind. While squatting is a taller lift, you should have a greater incentive to control the eccentric portion of the movement. That is the downward portion of the actual movement, right? Comprende? Do not try to rush or dive bomb the squat as a mean of lifting more weight or getting leverage via momentum. Embrace the actual grind, embrace the suck, right? Embrace the suck that comes with holding your breath on the way down and come back up at an even pace while controlling the weight and allowing your muscle fibers to do the actual work. It's very reminiscent towards the chest bounce that we implement on the actual. Everyone was guilty of this. Everyone has done this within a certain period of training within their lives. This camera is fucking tilted and fucked up. I need to fix it. Okay, so everyone has implemented this actual technique within their lives. Jesus fucking Christ, yeah. Alright, so cut. Okay, everyone has implemented that technique within their lives in which you're bench pressing, you actually have the bar like bounce on your chest. Now, in the end, you are ultimately cheating yourself. You are cheating yourself out of the overall muscle fiber damage that you can actually accumulate. You're also cheating yourself out of the muscle actually working. Embrace the eccentric grind of the squat. Now, tenet number 3. Not tenet number 3. This is in the Bible, but hell, point number 3 of what I wrote on this. Even though I continue to struggle with this shit to this day, right? I suck at this, right? Open up those hips, right? You know, this sounds gay as shit, but let's be honest. Like a lot of these bodybuilding things sound pretty gay, but they're kind of essential, right? You know, I'm getting better and better with each passing day of of opening my hips. Pause. The purpose of getting your hips to open isn't to go into labor, of course, right? It's to squat in a manner that does not have, that doesn't have your hip flexors feeling like you're about to rip apart, right? Tight hip flexors are a bitch and can force you to lean on one side when squatting. I'm guilty of this shit to a hardcore extent. Like, holy hell, bro. Like, I'm currently battling a lateral pelvic tilt right now, and I'm strengthening the right portion of my leg. My left side is strong as fuck for some bizarre reason. I think it's due to the point. I think it's as a consequence of sleeping on that bed on one side more, maybe pulling from the floor with one side. But yeah, the bottom line is I'm gonna get better. I'm trying to get better, right? And in the process of doing so, I'm trying to get my hips more open to have the weight evenly distributed on one side or the other, right? They can also prevent you from going into the comfortable depth that your body was designed to squat into, right? Notice how I didn't say they can prevent you from squatting completely to depth, because the purpose is to squat at a depth that avoids injury while reaping the most benefits in return from said compound movement. And tight hip flexors will prevent you from squatting to the proper depth that suits your grasshopper anthropology. Point number 4. Change the position of the bar on your back, alright? High bar squat. You likely have to avoid a high bar squat altogether because it doesn't suit you. But if you can manage with this, position, more power to you. And good luck in your future endeavors, right? Mid bar squat. Depending on your level of comfortability, placing the bar in the mid portion of your back, the mid portion of your trapezius might suit you. Try it out with extremely light weight and ask yourself, does this feel right? Remember, you're not trying to I can't even speak right now. You're not trying to impress a bunch of armchair powerlifters who don't even practice what they preach while giving powerlifting a bad name, okay? It's your freedom to experiment with bar placement in order to squat at a depth that's congruent with your stature. Alright, a low bar squat. This is, of course, the lowest you can place the bar on your back while squatting, where the bar is positioned at the lowest portion of the trapezius. This is noticeably how strongmen such as Hafthor, Julius Borson, I can't even pronounce his name. I should have Googled how to pronounce his name in order to sound more intelligent than I actually am, but Hathor. I'm gonna call him Hathor, even though he has a badass name, right? It sucks that I can't pronounce it. And if you notice, he's a pretty big dude, right? He's he currently weighs, he's 6'9" while weighing 335 pounds. As a tangent, although I'm not sure if he currently weighs as much, considering he had a boxing match with Eddie Hall, and he had to get cut, and he got sliced the fuck up for that actual bout. Man, he looks incredible. He looks insane. Maybe this is from a bodybuilding standpoint, but I prefer his physique now as opposed to his strongman physique. That's a tangent. Okay. The point is, it's not surprising why Hathor selected this placement of the bar. He's got ridiculously long femurs. So a high bar squat is the equivalent of shooting both of his kneecaps off with a pistol. Okay? And as a tall lifter such as yourself, you may have to adopt and place the bar at the lowest part of your back. Okay? Every time I squat, my form is slowly evolving into this actual placement. It's as if the more I squat, the more the bar is actually getting lower and lower, and the more I'm actually the more I'm getting to a depth that is more comfortable for me, and I don't have to struggle in a sense where I'm just completely tolerant of having fucked up knees, fucked up joints, fucked up back pain, right? The overall end goal isn't to press a couple of fucking armchair powerlifters on YouTube. It's to grow bigger legs, bro. It's to grow bigger quads, get your glutes up there. It's, to get that goddamn teardrop to finally fucking show on your legs as a tall guy, right? In fact, I'll actually show you a video of how my form looks in both iterations, in which one side I tried to squat, I tried squatting the so-called normal conventional way, and then I ended up deviating, experimenting with certain things that I'm going to bring up in the later half of the video, right? And the way I currently squat now, much more, it's a much more endurable movement. I don't have the same aches and pains that I initially had when I started squatting. What the fuck? Oh yeah, as a word of caution, the video that's recorded on the right, it's in potato quality. I had no idea my friend was recording me, so that's why the quality kind of sucks. So he's got a potato phone, but no disrespect, man. Shout out to my homie for recording it, bro. I had no idea he was recording me. So beggars can't be choosers, but he's a really awesome guy. I remember when I was a couple of years younger, and he was telling me, bro, if you keep lifting, you're gonna be a problem. And now I am that problem. So it's awesome to see. It's awesome to become the personification of his prediction, visually in time, real time. He saw me grow. So yeah. Shout out to you, bro, if you're watching this, right? Thank you for recording it. Foot stance. Okay. Point number 5. I didn't even detail this. Foot stance. You may have to assume a wider stance when squatting as a taller lifter, right? Now, depending on the next factor that I list subsequently, you may be suited with a grip that is not extremely wide by conventional standards, or not extremely narrow. So yeah, it all depends on your flexibility and level of comfort. I personally have a stance that is quite wide, and I personally do not give a single fuck what these Instagram garden gnomes have to say about it, because I'm in this game of iron for the long haul. And I initially tried a stance that was quite narrow and conventional, but I noticed my blade instability along with my body's reluctance to maintain its structural integrity. I was starting to lean forward very terribly. But it's a good thing I experimented with foot stance while having big weight on the bar, because if I experimented with even 225 with such a narrow stance, right, I definitely would have leaned forward, smashed my goddamn face on the goddamn floor, and I wouldn't have all my damn teeth in my my pearly whites, what's remaining of them, would be completely just severed and gone, right? I encourage you to do just that. Have the freedom to play and implement freedom of experimentation that is subjected to the approval. Experiment. Have the freedom of playing experimentation that isn't subjected to the opinion and approval of others. Try to experiment with yourself. Slap a $135 on the bar, change your stance, see what's more comfortable for you. And on a personal note, I have a sibling of mine who recently started squatting. He started training roughly 2 years ago, right? He's made some pretty damn good progress, right? And he commented on his difficulties to squat and with a conventional with a conventional stance, right? And I instantly told him, hey, try, try a wider stance, and he immediately felt the difference. He was able to squat in a depth that was comfortable towards him. He felt his legs activate. He felt comfortable, and that's the actual point I'm trying to bring across here. Don't copy how someone else squats. Now, the sibling of mine, we are related. We have very, very similar builds. My bio brother in iron is a fellow grasshopper like I am. That's just how we were built. That's how Mama art, Papa art brought us into the planet. We're just a bunch of lanky grasshoppers who, we have strengths and our weaknesses, and our weaknesses are apparently squats. We, but we're working around it. We're getting stronger, and yeah. Which brings me to point number 6. Change your grip position. Right? Okay. This is probably the final tenet that I have. Yeah. Last but not least, we have our final tip of piece of advice for tall lifters. So this is extremely critical towards the safety as far as unracking the actual bar from the damn rack, right? Play with the position of your hands as you are gripping the bar as a means of unloading it from the squat rack. And as an extremely personal example, I can recount so there's one buddy of mine, right? He grips the bar from, he has a very, very, very wide grip on the actual bar, right? And I was perplexed by it, I was puzzled by it, and I came up to him and I asked him, bro, is this a squat variation you are implementing? Because I'm someone who overthinks a lot, and I thought, oh, maybe he's doing this special sort of squat that he saw online, or maybe some sort of secret technique that he's implementing, right? No, his response was, no, this is just how I feel comfortable. I feel the most comfortable squatting with the bar on my back. Have my hands weight. I swear his arms probably, his palms are probably damn near touching the end of the actual bar, like when he's squatting, right? He looks cool from my perspective, but a lot of individuals would look at that and say, "Oh no, he's cheating." No, fuck you. This guy is a solid 240 pounds, right? And I'm not talking about he stands at 6'2", 240 pounds, right? And I'm not talking about a chunky 240 like I was back in the winter of 2018. No, this guy is fucking stacked. He has a respectable amount of conditioning, respectable amount of size, respectable amount of proportions. He looks incredible, right? Even though he thinks I look better than him now, no, dude, you were my first inspiration when it came to training, right? But yeah, you may have to adopt a position that derives from how a person, you may have to adopt a grip position that deviates from how someone else might actually grip the bar when they're squatting. Me personally, I noticed that I'm gripping the bar a lot wider and wider ever since. Hell, even Halfthor does this shit. Watch Halfthor whenever he squats. Very, very, very wide grip that he implements. He's grabbing the bar from a very wide position. He's placing it in the lowest portion of his back. Although I will say his stance is quite narrow, much narrower than my stance is. And he doesn't have the butt wink when he squats because, yeah, he kind of has to abide by the acid grass principle because he is a strongman. So he's got that going for him, but he found a way to make it work, and that's the point of this video. Find a way to make things work, and find a way to grow the muscles that don't involve fucking up your joints with longevity as a means of impressing sort of internet garden gnome trolls who can't even post a physique online when you ask them, hey bro, post a physique, post a project, progress photo, something, right? Prior to criticizing my inability to go to depth, right? Show me how your legs look at least. No, they won't do that in the slightest. Hell, they won't even give you a bicep flex. They can't even do this because they have nothing. And that brings me to the end of the video. Fucking throat is dry as shit. I'm not sure why. I didn't even talk for that long. But yeah, 6 tidbits of advice for how to actually squat. This video doesn't seem that long. 20 minutes long. We did a pretty good job, I think. Alright guys, peace.
Choose your fighter!